Schwartz Professor of International Political Economy and the Director of the International Development Program. He has been the Sykes Dean of Faculty from 2002 to 2004. Previously was the Omer L. and Nancy Hirsch Professor of Public Policy at the School of Public Policy at George Mason, a member of the Political Science Department of the RAND Corporation, twice served as a member of the Policy Planning Staff of the U.S. Department of State, was a member of the U.S. delegation to the Egyptian-Israeli talks on Palestinian autonomy. Dr. Fukuyama is also an advisory board member for the National Endowment for Democracy, the American Interest, the Journal of Democracy, the New American Foundation. He's written widely on issues relating to democratization in international political economy, state building, institutions, and political development. All of us were fawning over him earlier because I certainly myself spent a lot of time in graduate school and out of graduate school reading his publications and have learned a great deal from him. So it's really a great honor to have you here. Without further ado, Dr. Fukuyama, if I could invite you up to the stage. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to welcome all of you to SAIS. This is a tremendous opportunity, I think, both for our school and for FINCA. A very large number of the students in the International Development Program at our school have gone on to careers in microfinance. It's probably the single most active area of student interest. And so I think it's a terrific opportunity to be able to have this meeting where we discuss kind of cutting-edge research issues in the area of microfinance. And I'm very pleased actually there's one advisory board membership you didn't mention, which is I've been for the last year and a half on the advisory board of FINCA itself. And have been really grateful to have the opportunity to work with people like John Hatch and Rupert Schofield. So welcome to all of you. The topic today, the measurement of social performance, is an extremely important one. I think, as all of you are quite aware, measurement and evaluation has become an increasingly important part of international development. It's not something that's been universally accepted or universally practiced. For example, in the democracy and human rights area, organizations that are involved in that tend not to do very much M&E. They argue that it's inherently extremely hard to link inputs of activity with outputs in that area. It's so qualitative and hard to measure. On the other hand, an organization like the World Bank spends about 5% of project money evaluating its own programs and using extremely sophisticated econometric techniques to do that. I think that the money that is invested in measurement is actually extremely important for the development world. I mean, it's obviously important just in the sense that we want to know how we're doing. You cannot devise strategy unless you have some sense of where resources are actually producing results. And so that has to be an inevitable part of the activity, the self-reflective activity of the organization as a whole. But I think the other really important dimension of that is maintaining external support for development activities, because development costs money, and you're not going to convince donors to part with scarce resources unless you can actually prove that their money is doing some good. For example, the conditional cash transfer programs that have become very popular all over Latin America, beginning with Progresa in Mexico, had designed into them extremely sophisticated econometric methods of double-blind testing for the interventions, so that it was very easy to come up with academically very respectable measures of the impact of these programs. And I can tell you that politically, the Mexican government would have dropped their support for these programs were it not for the fact that you could show, parade in front of them a whole series of academic articles showing that earlier investments in this area had paid off. And so I think in general, although many people in the field sometimes wonder why it is that we are spending money on measurement and evaluation rather than getting that money into the hands of clients and having it be more immediately impactful on their lives, I think in the total scope of things, it is money worth spent. The exact level we can debate, but it is certainly something that's quite important. Now, I have to confess to you that I am neither a microfinance person nor am I a measurement person. So you might ask, what am I doing giving a keynote speech? But I do think that I've thought about this question of measurement of social performance in other contexts using different concepts, because in a certain sense the double bottom line, we're familiar with the economic and the financial bottom line, but the social bottom line has always been very problematic in terms of measurement, because it often has to do with qualitative aspects of people's lives that are just inherently very difficult to assign quantitative values to. And therefore, there's actually a lot of experience in the effort to measure these more intangible dimensions of development. One of the reasons that I've, for a long time, been quite fascinated with the whole phenomenon of microfinance is that it is actually a practical application of a concept that I am quite familiar with and have written myself about, which is the concept of social capital.